All right. What's up, everyone? This is Nicholas Salter back at it with the Keep It Real podcast with my lovely guest, Mr. Luke Armstrong. So today's episode, not gonna lie, don't have a lot of topics, stuff like that lined up ahead of time, but I feel like that adds to the fun and the mysticism of the podcast to see what might come up out of the ether to see what we can talk about. But how you doing, Mr. Armstrong?
I'm doing good, man.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. So, thank you guys always for your comments and all your support that you give on the videos and stuff that I make. It does mean a lot. I do care about doing this. I do want to do this more in a foreseeable future and hopefully really grow this thing. So your support and all your comments, positive or negative, are always welcome.
The rage bait?
Especially the negative ones. Actually, just bring those in. All
more views.
Love to see
more. What is it? Engagement.
More engagement. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
And then you delete the hate comments. There's a guy who said he would delete hate comments because then people would comment again. They would be like, "This guy's deleting comments," and he would delete them, and then they would put another comment, and that would be more engagement because it would be double the comment engagement.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, I guess there are like bad faith ways you can take of trying to increase engagement and stuff like that. Some people, a lot of grifters out there, people like the Alex Jones type. I mean, to where they may have some fundamental belief about some of the things that they say, but they might highly exaggerate it to the point of trying to get engagement and stuff like that.
I was like, I completely forgot who fucking Alex Jones was.
Yeah, the crazy, the turn frogs game.
Infowars. That's the name of his organization.
To where it's like, he might believe some of this stuff, but he exaggerates it to an extreme degree to be polarizing.
That's what works, though, isn't it?
I mean, unfortunately, that's according to at least some analytics and things like that. People are most drawn to highly emotional kind of content and interactions. Like, unfortunately, it's the most polarized, fucked up stuff that does get the most eyes drawn to it. Like those Jubilee debates, like the whole 20 liberals versus one conservative.
It's called Surrounded, I think.
Surrounded. I'm not gonna lie, I get caught up watching this.
I don't, because I feel like it's unhealthy. I don't know. I don't see a lot of. Every time I look at that shit, it's the most unproductive. Well, that's the thing. So there's two ways to look at it. Either the series itself is unproductive, or the clips that they come of it that they farm people on are unproductive.
It might be a little bit mix of both, because I think having a healthy dialogue is important, even with people that you don't agree with. Kind of touching a little bit on the last episode, I feel like that's a lot what the country's kind of missing right now, is that ability to come to the table and have a conversation to where you can disagree with someone's point and still treat them as and respect them as a person kind of deal, But the things with Jubilee is that a lot of at least what I've actually heard, is that they pick people that are extremely polarized on both sides in order to have more of that increased engagement and more of that emotional turmoil. Like, they pick usually the most passionate people are going to be the ones that are probably the most well-informed about the subject matter. I can see that. But I think most part, yeah. I mean, if you spend your time really looking into stuff and really studying about it, now your sources could be biased.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like,
you may not do the best job of making sure you have unbiased sources, but they're definitely going to be, I think, pretty knowledgeable, at least more knowledgeable than the average person.
But also a lot of passionate people just kind of come in hot, and they don't really research what they assume.
Yeah, and this is actually something I actually did talk about with one of my friends too, because she had the opinion of where she's not sure if these kind of debates and these kind of discussions are really helpful for anybody, because a lot of them are just kind of very passionate about winning.
Is she talking about discussions in general, or is she talking about the surrounded stuff?
I think some of a lot of political debate sphere, I feel like. So things like Jubilee.
I can see where she's coming from. I feel like a lot of people are losing their humanity within the debates.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is that we have to learn how to balance, again, be able to disagree with someone's perspective and not shit on them as a human being. I think that's where we're having a hard time trying to toe the line between. I think, as I talk to people, disagree with me all the time. A, I like to argue. Doesn't know me. That's just who I am. But also, B, I do feel like that it's good, so that way you're not developing an unhealthy bias towards just one viewpoint and not just being an echo chamber. You should be well informed on a variety of ideas, even if you don't agree with them, still having a knowledge that they exist will kind of help keep you open-minded and not be so dogmatic or bigoted. I feel like I think you need to have different perspectives outside just your own. Like I speak into like atheists or people of other religions, and I know I'm a Christian, but just kind of hear their point of view on what their beliefs are. I think it's good to kind of have that level of being open-minded, even if I do disagree sometimes.
Mm. Yeah. I was about to say, you seem pretty closed off to Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes, because he's a fucking dick. Yeah, because he's a fucking dick. You hear that? It's like, see, here's the thing.
I don't even know anything about this guy. I just know that whenever Nick mentions him,
I really even hate giving this guy.
You can see the steam coming out of his
Seriously, I even hate giving this guy a platform because there are some bad faith people that are very charismatic that would frame themselves as if they want to have an open-minded dialogue and discussion. They don't. They're really just trying to push their own narrative view on things that's genuinely bad and harmful. I think objectively, Nick Fuentes just does not like black people, like straight up. He'll do every other reason under the sun. It's like, no, I just don't like those kind of black people. The ones I'm talking about. Like he'll frame it that way.
I don't like those kind of black people. What's kind of black people? Black people. Oh, okay.
It's like that, basically, yeah. Like he's trying to make his takes seem like lukewarm or like, well, of course, everyone thinks this way.
Is he going about it the anthropology route?
What does that mean?
The average black male is just statistically not as smart as the whatever the fuck.
I don't think I heard him use those arguments too much. I think maybe every once in a while.
That's another clip, by the way, for you right there.
But I think most you get that? Yeah.
Yeah.
You get that. Jarvis clipped that. But a lot of stuff he talks about comes from more like, oh, well, I'm not really against black people, but they're just the ones that, they commit the most crime, or they're the ones who always be the most loud and the most obnoxious in a social setting. He's like, I don't hate black people. I just hate what they do. But then he uses that, I think it's called like a Mott Bailey technique or something like that in debate stuff, to where it's like you give one claim of an argument, but it's really for something else in the background. And whenever someone challenges that, what you're really trying to say, they're like, oh, no, I'm really just trying to say this. I'm not saying anything about black people. I'm talking about just black people's behavior. They kind of hide behind that original claim instead of owning up to what they're really trying to say. That's what I mean by bad faith tactics.
Black people be breathing and shit.
I could be wrong, but I don't think he's a good faith actor. And I think he's trying to use, unfortunately, Charlie Kirk's death as a way to garner more influence in the mainstream. And if more of these people do start to come out of the woodwork like this, we're going to start seeing major cultural shift in a negative direction towards, I think, more, honestly, racist ideologies and more ideologies that's just harmful and discriminatory.
I like to think people are better than that.
I would like to think so too. You see his comment section. The problem is that evil or bad faith people still do exist. And as the world evolves and changes, so does their tactics. And they can't just come out outright and do a bunch of evil and say a bunch of evil shit, because people will. Well, yeah. I mean, basically, they can't do it yet because it's too easy to take down, right? They're not.
It also it turns people away from them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to, if you want to do something truly evil, you need to make it set in. Not you can't just come in hot.
Yeah, you have to slowly indoctrinate people into your ideas, into your worldview, to where it doesn't become as extreme, right? There's a book called Ordinary Men that talks about police officers that were in Germany around the time when Hitler started taking power, and it showed their evolution from being just normal good police officers to where they're like shooting pregnant women in the back of the head, like execution style, and it shows the decline in their integrity and their morality bit by bit as Hitler's power and influence increases. That's the problem. Usually those kind of concepts, they don't immediately come out the gate being like really strong, really hateful. It's like step by step to influence the public and the mainstream society, to slowly involve them, indoctrinate them into those ideas, and then they start doing the extreme shit. Like, I'm pretty sure there's probably, I think we talked about it at one point, I'm sure there's probably people back in Germany that thought, oh, Hitler, he's not that big a deal. He's like some failed art student guy. He's a little extreme, but let's be honest, he's not going to get that far. He's going to be gone by next week, and then some other crazy guys can come. And then all of a sudden, he takes over fucking Germany. So
in conclusion, art school should just accept everybody.
No. But in conclusion, I think we have to be careful what when we do want to have free speech, because I do want to have these open dialogues and debates, but that does not mean that we be overly charitable to inherently harmful positions. Like, we had to call the kettle black, to where if someone's coming out here saying racist shit, trying to hide behind an era of goodwill or whatever, be like, no, this is what you're saying, this is what you really mean, and I'd like to see you provide evidence of the contrary. Like, you call them out for it.
Well, then his evidence is just going to be, I love black people. That's going to be his evidence.
Yeah, and then you keep challenging them. And then you keep...
I love black people. Do you?
Yeah, you keep challenging, or be like, okay, what specifically do you like? What part of the culture do you admire the most? Right? Who's your favorite black like activist or civil rights leader?
I feel like that's
because here's the thing, because they'll say they like black people, right? And then like even Charlie Kirk, he says like, he thinks that the Voting Rights Act of 1964 was a mistake, or wasn't good for the American people, right? And by the way, I went back to the full clip, listened to the full context. Full context is almost worse. It's almost worse than that. But basically, he's like, yeah, he doesn't think that Martin Luther King was actually as good as a role model as someone else like would be. Which Martin Luther King was involved in like having an affair. I think
that's what I was going to ask. Is it about his adultery?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, even with his adultery, it doesn't take away from his actions and his effect on.
I think Martin Luther King is like my favorite leader of all time. He's like the guy. Like, if I could have dinner with somebody, I would have dinner with him.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like some, especially more like on the radical conservatives, they'll be like, well, see, he's not really that great of a guy because of this. But really what they're really trying to hint at is that, like, maybe black people having more of a prominent role in society might have been a mistake for America. That's really the larger message, but they're trying to package it into something a little bit nicer where it's like, is MLK that good of a figure? And then once people buy into that, then they'll kind of start roping them into more extreme.
Yeah, but it also might just be the hyper-focus on his adultery. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because they don't. Why hyper-focus on that?
I'm just imagining being like with him and being like, oh my god, I'm such a fan, dude, of everything you did. And he's like, so yeah, I was fucking this bitch. And I'm like, okay. I'm just messing with the silverware. I'm like, okay, Mr. MLK, I appreciate you so much. I doubt you. He was a reverend. He was a great... I'm a really big fan of him. But yeah, I think that'd be the most, like, plot twist thing when he was like, I was all up in them booty cheeks. And you're like, Mr. MLK, no!
He had that dog in him. He had that dog in him. It's like, hey, I feel like every man has a vice. Okay? Everyone has something. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's a good thing that he has it. What I'm saying is that a lot of great men that we revere in history probably have some bad sides.
Dr. Seuss was another one that was infidel.
Infidelity? Yeah. Man, it's like we like to hold people to like this saint-like kind of, like, we want to pedestalize them, right? But we have to remember that they are human beings like the rest of us, to where they probably made some mistakes and fucked up. Doesn't necessarily detract from the good or the impact that they made on the world. Again,
I think MLK is like the best of the best.
Yeah, he's great, but he was also a man. He was also flawed, like a lot of great people in history.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like flawed and
being extremely racist and bigoted and wanting to.
No. But like, there's a difference between. I don't want to also exempt him from the fact that he did something bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, so I think actually a great example of that was like for A&M, like the statue of like Lawrence Sullivan Ross. Like there were things that came out a few years ago saying like he may have some racist views and stuff like that back in the day, which A&M's about 200 years old, so that probably lines up with the time period and what a lot of thinking in that point in time, unfortunately. But to where some people are like, oh, should we have a statue of him because of some of the racist views that he had? And people are like, yep, tear it down. And people are like, well, you can't just go back and try to just rewrite history. It's like he still did something good for the school. So, I feel like that should be acknowledged somehow. And my take, which is always the correct and perfect take, my take was we should have something on the sign saying that we stand by Lawrence Sullivan Ross for what he did for the school and A&M students, so we all got to be here and go here in the first place. But we do not line up with his political leanings or his political views. Right?
I want to get rid of that statue for the sole reason I want to have one less Jody to remember. Lawrence Sullivan, I don't remember any of the fucking Jody except 1838, 1898. Wait, no, I do. Soldiers, was it Soldier Statements, gentlemen, or is that the other thing?
A Soldier Statement at Nightly Gentlemen. I know that was one of Campusologies, but I can't remember what Jody that was part of.
Oh no, it wasn't yeah, you're right. It was Campusologies.
Yes. For context,
shows you how much I remember.
We were both in the Corps of Cadets at A&M. It doesn't matter as much. Yes, but But yeah, that
means
that's
he was a wimp.
That was
a little band wimp.
Please, I'd love to see you guys out there trying to go out there and focus on marching drills and stuff. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, stepping is so difficult
because we had to work out and we had to go to marching band and stuff after that.
Oh man, I heard about y'all's workouts. I'm so sorry. They're so difficult.
Sorry, you guys were fucked. You're fucked, man. By the way, they couldn't break us right before we had to go to marching band. We had to be able to walk after the fact. So yeah, that's yeah.
I mean, your 10 jumping jacks. I mean, those were difficult.
Oh my god, 10 jumping jacks. We did our bear crawls up and down, like almost like a football field, like length stuff like that. We had difficult workouts too. Okay, you can a little high horse up there. So that's the thing with Low and Sullivan Ross, are kind of people. Again, someone who's famous or had a good impact on A&M's history. Still, also wasn't the most morally upright person. Possibly, in all aspects, but he still did something important for the school. So a lot of things in history where it's like you have bad people that's done some good things, and some good people that do some bad things. They're just people, so we shouldn't necessarily hold them onto a pedestal or that this inhuman standard. We should keep in mind that they did great things, and then talk about those things, so that hopefully that behavior can be repeated in the future. But also talk about some of the bad shit that they did to be like, okay, we don't want this to happen again. And give people a full view, a full perspective on things, and not just an inherently biased view. But there are some bad actors out there that would take some of the negative aspects of a great figure and amplify that.
That was Charlie Kirk's argument.
Yeah.
That since he was
because of the infidelity that like he may not have been as good as a role model he could have been for black people, and also I think some people believe that he was like some socialist. Like ideologies or some stuff like that. So,
I mean, he was a reverend. You're inherently going to have some crossover.
So that's the thing. So they're basically taking differences in their own political ideology, saying, "Hey, because of these differences, he wasn't as great as man as everyone says he is." And in fact, that's why we should push against this narrative, like things like critical race theory or stuff like that. Like they're trying to go back and undermine some of these things in history to kind of push their own narrative forward. And I feel like in the efforts to try to they say they don't have anything against black people, but I feel like they kind of do, but they just don't. They don't want to be that, transparent about it. Like they kind of want to smuggle it in.
I don't hate black people. I just hate everybody named Jamal. We just kind of start you out there. You're like, I feel like there's a certain demographic named Jamal.
Yeah, it's like they just say, "Oh, I don't hate you guys. I just hate your culture. I just hate rap music. I just hate, I just hate how you guys speak." You guys can be like ghetto, or you guys can just be uneducated. It's like so what you're saying is that you like black people when they're basically just like you, just with a different skin color. Is what you're saying.
I mean, some people do argue that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unfortunately, people like Nick Fuentes. Yeah, it's just like I don't hate black people. You guys are just more like us, then we like you. And I
disagree with that point of view, but I also wonder how much are you allowed to criticize a culture before it becomes racist?
Well, it depends on what aspect of the culture that they're criticizing. I think it's contextual in that. You know what I mean? Like, where are they actually picking apart? Because sometimes there are valid criticisms, especially even I have with the black community. I think there is kind of this crabs in the bucket mentality. We're trying to keep
crabs in the bucket mentality. I've never heard
of that
in my life.
So what that references is that crabs apparently, when you put them in a bucket and some crabs try to get out, the crabs in the bottom try to make sure they stay down. Like they don't help.
Because they're trying to get out too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think they know if they want to get out or not. They just know that when crabs do try to get out, the crabs at the bottom that aren't getting out try to pull them back in. I don't know if those crabs are trying to get out themselves. I don't know the psychology behind that. I read that deep into it. But that's where the analogy comes from.
Next time I get my crabs in the bucket, I'll be like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. They're all gonna tear each other down anyways.
Yeah, but that's basically it. To where it's like when a black person starts to elevate themselves, or when we code switch and kind of talk white, so to speak. They're like, why are you doing that? Why are you acting like all better than you are, kind of thing. It's like, why can't you just kind of be normal? It's like why are you trying to act like you're better than us? When really that's just kind of insecurity to where it's like we're just trying to elevate ourselves. Like my parents talked about that. With some of their friends, when they were growing up when they tried to focus on their school or working, trying to elevate themselves. Like they had friends be like, why are you doing all that for? Like trying to act like you're better than us or something. It's like they took offense to them trying to grow as people for some reason, which is sad. But there's some people that are going to see you in life trying to go in a certain direction. reflects poorly upon them because they're not taking any steps to move forward. So now they're trying to tear you down to make themselves feel better or make sure that they don't feel insignificant.
I knew a person who worked with the homeless. No, it was homeless in like subsidized housing. This wasn't specifically. I don't know. I don't remember if it was specifically a black family or not. Just want to say that, but it was a poorer family. And apparently, they witnessed like a little girl come home, and she was like, "Mommy, Daddy, I got like an A on my test or quiz or something." And the dad went, "Oh, you think you're better than us?" Basically. I know. It really got under their skin too when they. Well, obviously when they talked about it, you know.
Jesus what I mean? Christ! Yeah, fucked up shit like that. Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, I hate that. I can't think of anything like worse parenting outside like beating your kid or something. But that's like emotional.
I mean, let's be real. Like they probably do. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like people who say like, oh, it's bad to beat dogs, but at least you don't beat kids. Like usually they're the same fucking person. You know what I mean?
It comes from the same tree. Yeah. Awful. So yeah, there's people like that feel threatened by other people's success, and then therefore they have to go down and try to tear down other people. Like just bullies. Basically, this is all they are. But unfortunately, people like that do exist. That you gotta learn how to deal with, or really don't deal with them at all. Avoid them at all costs if you can. But trying to turn back to my larger point. But yeah, so basically going back to that black community where I have my own qualms where there is this kind of sense of almost bullying or even like colorism to where it's like, oh, the reason why you're doing so well in life is because you're light skinned or something like that. To where we do have this habit of keeping each other down.
Do you feel like colorism is rampant even within? Do you feel like it is as? Do you feel like colorism is as? How do I put this? Prominent within the black community as racism is prominent within society. In regards to judgment alone, not in regards to effects, but in regards to the
just how much is occurring.
I suppose, yeah.
I don't know if I'm being transparent. Like I'm not sure statistically how one would measure.
Do you consider yourself light skinned?
Yes.
Leave it to a light skinned guy, yeah. to realize.
Oh my god. Yeah, the funny like Hotel Rwanda is like cut down the tall tree. Through all the Hutus and the Tutsis. I forgot what it was called.
Hutus and
God, that was such a fucked up thing to me to watch in school. I mean, I think it was good.
Dude, I watched it at school too. It was like, dude, that road scene still gets to me.
Oh my god, that was fucked. That was so fucked. Oh god. But it did show the effects of what happens when we let these kind of division kind of like gets into society where they can turn against each other like that. I do think there's colorism in black community. I do think there's a lot of it. How much is it compared to just general racism? I don't know. I don't know the numbers on that, me personally. But I do think it is there to where there's almost kind of resentment towards people that are fairer skinned that some people have towards other black people. And it's unfortunate because I think some parts of the institution may want us to turn against each other. I think they kind of do. It's like
I don't know.
It doesn't help us out to be against each other for that reason.
It doesn't, but I hate that argument of like the institution. You know what I mean? Where there are people like they're trying to get us to fight against each other so we don't see the bigger picture, man.
I think actually that's exactly what I think. Yeah, I think a lot of it just comes from our differences.
How much are we just doing it to our fucking selves, though?
I think it's both. I don't think necessarily.
But yeah, but that's the thing. I don't know. I don't necessarily disagree with the idea that. I mean, I kind of do and don't. I mean, I think that I don't know. I'm much more of a bigger believer in the dead internet theory, and I think that. Do you know what the dead internet theory is?
Yeah, most of my boss.
Yeah, most of it's becoming AI.
So why make the AI so divisional? What's the purpose behind that?
The AI isn't programmed to be divisional. You know what it's programmed for? Interaction. It's proposed. Not interaction, but what do you call it? It was the reason I said like the games and everything was made to make you upset.
To engage.
Engagement. That's what they're programmed for. Severity gets more engagement.
Which I agree with. But what does it say about the companies in play that are allowing this? That knowing as tearing people divide apart.
I mean, I think I said in our last podcast or one of the podcasts that efficiency is what's killing us. I think actually that may have been a conversation outside of this now. Now I look like I'm pulling shit out of my ass. I think efficiency is the thing that is killing us. Because we're obsessed with becoming better. right? But that means that at a certain point, we are going to squeeze a lemon dry and then find more ways to squeeze it tighter and tighter, right?
Yeah, at the expense of people.
At the expense of people.
So even though are they hurting people because they want to hurt people? No, but they are hurting people because they don't care about hurting people. And I'm saying, even if it's not evil intention, it's still evil action based on selfishness. It's still evil.
Is it?
Yeah, I think negligence. Yeah, I think it is. And I think that's what those companies there are being negligent towards the American population by just saying, yeah, I mean, they're more polarized, want to kill each other, but at least we're making more money, so who gives a fuck? Like, so even though maybe they're not trying to divide us more, maybe not, but they don't care that they are.
And then Luigi, I'm kidding.
And god damn it, Jesus, yeah. So, is it absolutely intentional? Maybe not.
I don't think it is, and I think that's the thing.
But is it negligence at the very least?
I see so many more people. I think the reason it frustrates me is because a lot of people use it to kind of rob themselves of the good they can do. You know what I mean?
They use it as an excuse to not do anything.
Yeah, to a certain extent. They use it as it's more of an observational statement. So I'm not saying they're going to use it as a conditional off of an action, but I just feel like. I think the other thing is it doesn't do anything. You know what I mean? When people say that shit, when they're like, it's just the government trying to make us, you know what I mean?
Well, I think the implication of that would be don't let them manipulate us in hating each other.
Yeah, but then they, I don't know, it doesn't prevent the stupid two people at hand who want to talk in that fucking Instagram comment because they don't have enough of a... it doesn't stop when things are flying back and forth. You know what I mean?
I mean, well, that's the thing. We don't need everybody to stop. We just need a majority of them to stop.
I guess. I just don't feel like it never makes anybody stop. It's a void argument that doesn't make anybody stop in their tracks.
If we give up, yeah. If you stop trying, you already lost.
I mean, I get what you're saying. Maybe say it before the arguments happen to try and this idea that...
Yeah, I think especially a lot of competition debates, what a lot of people should start doing, it'd be like, when you start engaging with someone that has different viewpoints than they do, be like, hey, the goal of this conversation, talk about what the goal of the conversation is.
I'm trying to figure out why it gets to me so much. Continue talking, I'm sorry, I interrupted you completely.
But I think the goal, when you talk with someone or have a debate or things like that, it should be try to establish some goal you have in the conversation. Be like, my goal is to have a better understanding what your perspective is, and hopefully you have a better understanding what my perspective is. To kind of come on mutual common ground. Be like, the whole point of this is to learn more about each other. I'm not trying to score points on you. Hopefully you're not trying to score points on me. We're trying to get better understanding each other's sides. So hopefully we walk away from this becoming more knowledgeable. Extend an olive branch before you start getting into the weeds. Mm-hmm. I think we need to start going back to that level of having respect and humanity when we're engaging with someone who disagrees with us.
So that's plus 3 points for me.
Sure. I have plus 4, so it's okay.
Oh, wow. The government is dividing us. No, I think when you're talking, I was listening to what you were saying, but I think the reason, you kind of said it, I think the reason I hate it so much, though, is because, you said, oh, well, we need to remind ourselves, right? I think that's the thing, is people just say it and then they don't do shit about it. You know what I mean? People talk all the time about, trying to help the community, then they don't do anything about it. People talk all the time about, oh, well, you should be, nice to your fellow man and listen to your enemies. And the moment they get into a situation that is remotely high stress, they will stomp their feet and get all angry.
Here's the thing. I have to recognize, and especially going through therapy, which I recognize myself, is that people are going to make mistakes. Even when they grow, sometimes you can take 2 steps back.
No, I guess, but I mean, what is the point of what is the it's kind of practice what you preach type thing,
Yeah, and sometimes when you practice, you fuck up during practice.
I guess I just feel like it's a lot more. Is dogma the right word? What is dog?
Dogmatic usually means someone who's, to my interpretation, a little bit more unbudging, or they more stubborn in their beliefs, and then kind of impose those beliefs on others without thinking critically or being open to other perspectives outside.
No, that's not what I mean. It's kind of something people just say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, there's a specific word for it, but it escapes me too. Where people just kind of like, it doesn't mean much. It's just kind of shallow. There's something that's kind of bring it up to where it's like, oh, like, you know, like we should all treat each other with respect.
The golden rule.
Yeah,
treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, things that people like everyone says, but like,
go to one do one server. I've never been a server in my life. I just want to say that right now. But I just think just do one server. I've heard so many server stories about people being terrible. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go to one golden corral and do a rush hour, and then see how you feel about it.
Yeah, it's like it's always easier to say platitudes. I think that's what for platitude. It's always easy to say and give platitudes than it is to actually live by the principles the platitudes are actually talking about. So it's, easier said than done. I do agree with that. But at the same time, it's just like, you know, if we don't try at all and just throw our hands in the air saying, well, no one does it anyway, then things will never get better and people will never improve, and try to hold people accountable for improving the things they say that they want to improve. Like, for example, let's say you have a friend that's like says like, you know, I really want to work on my anger or some shit, but then like, you know, they're always trying to control people, be domineering, they're always blowing up. You'd be like, hey, dude, I know you told me a while ago you said you want to work on this, but there's 3 different examples where you didn't. You completely gave that on the wayside. Like, what's happening there? Like, are you serious about this goal or are you not serious about this goal? Like, you kind of hold people's feet to the fire, which hopefully if they're a good friend, they'll appreciate and respect. And if they're not,
or they'll just get rid of you.
Yeah, but honestly, if they do, then it might be better for you in the long run anyway. So I think that's the thing is like we also had a good job of holding each other accountable for not just saying the platitudes, but actually living by it and then calling someone out.
No, I get that. I'm getting tired of listening to people who don't actually have any backup to what they say in regards to their actions to try and make the world a better place. Yeah, you know what I mean?
They're hypocrites. There are a lot of people.
Yeah, I just don't get it. You know?
Yeah, I mean it's hard. Like trying to be the person to change the dial, or trying to change your own behavior to something that you don't like about yourself. And as you both know, it's hard.
I mean, I'm not denying that, but I just think it's also just like, I don't know. Don't bullshit yourself with the idea that you're a good person if you don't do anything good.
Yeah. Well, what's the definition of good in this? Or like, what do you think is like the bare minimum of someone doing something?
I actually think most people reach. Well, that's the thing is most people reach the bare minimum, but the problem with the bare minimum is that everybody's definition of good is different. The other day, I was like helping out a family and everything, and they were very vulgar people, very like. That's the best way I can describe them. Very like, very just in your face. Not in your face person. I don't know. They were cussing every fight. They had like a little girl who must have been like 8. They were cussing. They were like very like at one point he made a joke of like, you know, I'm gonna hold that dog longer than you can. It was like a pit bull, so he's trying to say he was stronger than me. You know what I mean? And he wasn't. And they weren't mean or anything. Like I'm not mad at them, but it was just one of those things where it's like that was their definition. But they were friendly. You know what I mean? And I understood they were friendly. You know what I mean? And even when you try to talk to a particular guy in general, he was very like, well, I don't understand that. Why is it this way? And he would answer it like that. He would answer it very bluntly, very curtly. But you have to understand. I guess you had to like read in between the lines of in my definition, you had to read in between the lines of like, oh, this guy isn't a dick. At least in my opinion, he's just
very straightforward.
Yeah, that's just him. That's just his definition of good. You know, and so I don't know.
So I guess what's your definition
of like minimum good?
Yeah, what to you qualifies someone who's like would be a good person, or someone you see is actively trying to do good? Like,
part of at least one very black and white good organization that they put effort in.
Okay.
Of a good that I would literally look at some. Well, that's the other thing. I actually have friends that don't do that. That I actually do still consider them good people. I don't know. You know, because it also matters how they interact with kindness too. You can tell by the way a person speaks a lot of the time about how much they actually give a shit about other people. You know? A lot of people talk like they care, and then they don't actually try to put in...
Where their actions do reflect that.
Yeah. You know, people love their damn pride, and they love to be right, and, you know, just because you like to pretend like you are, or even if you are correct, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean like, I don't know. I think my definition is very, obviously not, I don't want to say flimsy, but it's
I think it's based on a level of like anti-selfishness.
Yeah, I would say it's based on a level of selflessness, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a fair definition of a good person, like, or someone who tries to put good into the world.
But I do think I am fine-tuned sensitive to, like, again, we've been over this, but I think I'm fine-tuned sensitive to confidence. You know what I mean? Too much confidence. I feel like people who are overtly confident, where I can, like, you know, where you can read in between the lines of, like, oh, you don't feel like you're wrong ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I want to acknowledge that I'm very much so a person who I really, really get along with people who I feel like can
like humble. They have a level of
humble to a certain extent. There is a type of personality that I do not like, that is humble, but it's very like drop at your feet. You know what I mean? Like, they don't brag about anything, but you can tell from a mile away that this person has never been wrong a day in their life in their head. You know? And those people annoy the hell out of me too, because a lot of the time they're very how do I put it? They're very difficult to interact with.
Trying to give a personal example if I ran into anyone like that.
I have three people I can name at the top of my head. But
okay. I feel like Luke is no more towards he has a good sense of people, and for me, I feel like I always see the good in people, which isn't necessarily a wrong thing, but then I might be more blind to some of their downsides, some of their weaknesses, until like way later, until it like smacks me in the face, almost. Like it takes.
Do you actually feel like it? Well, thank you.
Yeah,
that's very nice of you.
I think if you read people really well, yeah. Like for me, it takes me a good amount of time. I feel like until I'm able to digest a person, so to speak.
I think I sometimes read it in very simple terms, and that's what I feel. You know what I mean? Like, people think that we are incredibly advanced beyond animals, obviously. I mean, obviously, right? But I think that if you resort things to their very bare minimums, you can understand. Like I talked with you a while back about push and pull. You know what I mean? You can feel push and you can feel pull, right? Another thing I look for is, like, what I would call, and this isn't dogs particularly, which is not going to help the idea that I'm not a dog personality. But, like, play bows, you know what I mean, that dogs do. Do you know what a play bow is? You know when dogs lower their front and they still have their butt in the air and they're
yeah.
Yeah, those are called play bows, you know?
Okay.
And it's kind of a way of instigation. It's a way of, like, it's a way of starting play, you know? Okay. And I kind of look for how much people will play bow almost in a way, because here's the thing, you lose nothing in a play bow. You know what I mean? It's literally just an instigation.
So but how would that translate to like a human interaction, to where, like, maybe someone you haven't met before? What would be analogous to that?
Energy level, first and foremost. If I'm giving you energy and you're giving me zero energy, you're not, like, it costs you nothing in regards to you. Like, and that's the thing, is that a lot of people make it about being wrong or right. I'm not trying to say it's wrong or right. I'm trying to say the energy you give back to me. So a lot of people, for instance, don't recognize tone changes or something, and again, they'll come back to swinging. They'll just be like, well, you're wrong. The difference in me saying, well, you're wrong, and well, you're wrong are very different.
Yeah.
But people don't usually pick up on that tone change.
Because one's able to, like, to continue to engage in the conversation. The other one's just more like, I'm shutting this conversation down because your stance is just erroneous. And
that's the thing, is that it's that flexibility that I'm feeling for. You know what I mean? Okay. If I give you energy, how much are you going to? How much when you speak to me? What is your tone? That's a huge thing for me. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand in regards to how confidence can come off as stupidity and annoying. Mm-hmm. Is like, I don't know. I met someone the other day who was really nice, but I knew the moment I met them that, like, oh, you're not somebody that you don't see yourself as wrong a lot. And it was because when I met her, her voice was very like
kind of like matter of fact.
Yeah, very matter of fact. Very like, this is the way it is. And I was like, okay, dude, like that's just the way it is, you know.
Now, could it be the fact that some people? Could it be the fact that some people have good chemistry personalities like that, and they know how to like off of those well, or kind of break down those walls, kind of break down those guards. They're used to people like that. They grew up in an environment like that. So
and saying very blunt is very, like, for instance, akin to like autism, which is difficult for people to communicate in a certain capacity and everything. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I also find that it's still accurate a lot of the time. You know what I mean?
I guess the point I'm trying to make is that there might be just some people that you have chemistry with and some people that you don't. And the people you have chemistry with are ones that are a little bit more like, you know, playful, they're a little bit more kind of open. And there might be some people that they may hate that kind of vibe to where they are just kind of assholes, but then they like associating with like other standoffish assholes.
That's what I mean, though. That doesn't change the fact that you're an asshole. Like you can have an asshole friend. It doesn't mean you're not an asshole.
So there's an opposite foot to that. So it's where there's some people that might be like really playful and really open, but they're also like really fake and insincere, right? To where you get to know them better, and there may not be like a lot of depth there as a person. To where someone that might be a little more asshole and closed off here, they may actually have like a deep emotional reservoir, but it might take a lot of time to get there. You know, it's kind of like a frozen lake kind of deal.
Maybe it's just me, but I feel like I can feel those people almost instantly. And I think that's the thing I hate, is that a lot of people who are like, oh, like assholes in the beginning, they're like, just break me out of my shell and then I'll stop being an asshole. You know what I mean? It's like, you're wasting my fucking time. You're not... Vulnerabilities will be aimed for in dynamics, and you can be better at detecting vulnerability and everything. But if you never, and the funniest thing is these people always have the worst gauge too. They always, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them have terrible gauges because they don't understand how vulnerability is supposed to present itself. And so they'll choose really shitty people. And then they wonder, or they'll choose the correct person and then treat them like shit because they don't know how to handle it. You know?
So I think what we're talking about, there's a difference between someone that has limited emotional intelligence or limited emotional maturity versus someone that could may just be like a little bit more shy. I think that's a Discord message.
I'm professional, man.
I'm sorry, you know. Hey, this goes back to, you know, flaws and imperfections, stuff like that. But
no, you and MLK in the boat now.
But yeah, I think that where it comes down to is there could be a difference between people that have this more standoffish personalities. This might be a little more shy, but then people they actually do lack emotional maturity to where they don't know how to express anything, so they push people away, like an avoidant attachment style.
No, I get what you're saying, but it's just like, and that's a lot of people. I'm not denying. Most people, I would say, that act like that are that way. They're still good people. They're not. I say they're assholes, but it's like they're not. It's not like they intentionally try to be an asshole. Yeah. They're just presenting themselves and understanding the world through a different lens.
Yeah, that's my point. Is that there's some people that you're gonna vibe with, some people that you don't.
Yeah, but that doesn't make their. I don't know.
So you, from your perspective, they're like socializing wrong, but
I get what you're saying.
You just might be in a different kind of social group that they're just not your people. And like they have their own kind of people that they can get.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing entirely per se. I just feel like there's also a lot of, I don't know. I have too much give, and I know that whenever it comes to like talking and social dynamics, I'll give a lot more in regards to like I'll accept a lot about people and everything, and then I'm willing to overlook certain things if it's presented correctly to me and everything, because I really want that connection, right? And that's the thing, is that like. There's some people who have zero give, and then they'll find somebody who also has zero give, but they're just perfect for each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In my opinion,
that's wrong.
In my opinion, that doesn't change the fact that they're both zero give assholes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you think that they're entirely wrong, but
I get what you're saying for the most part. I'm not denying that.
Different strokes for different folks.
No, but like those people a lot of the time will mooch off of other people who have give. They'll try to stomp all over them and everything because they can.
Kind of like a narcissist, codependent kind of.
Yeah, like if everybody was you in a society, and then you laugh to yourself about how that society would burn down, you're a fucking asshole, in my opinion. Like if you wouldn't be able to live with yourself, literally, because you're like, oh man, I would be too combative. You're probably an asshole in real life too. You just don't realize it yet. You know?
Or they haven't had someone to soften their hearts yet, to where they can.
Oh my god! Don't get me started.
They can really truly open up.
I've never had anybody I could open up with. It's so hard to be me. Shit.
Hey, you know, there's some people that grow up in households.
I don't deny that.
That are very emotionally closed off. So that's why they treat other people how they were treated when they were growing up.
But then it's on you to recognize that.
Yeah, they may not recognize that until going through a bunch of awful relationships, or ended up being alone, where it's like, what the fuck? They have to do a deeper dive within themselves and have self-awareness.
Yeah, but it sucks for the people who are trying to help them sometimes. Because the only way to really help those people, is either through professional care, where you get into therapy and everything, or, I mean, I don't know. I get damaged a lot in that because I try to be vulnerable with them, and then I get damaged because I'm trying to be vulnerable with them, and then they get vulnerable with me too. But then they send damage my way, and I'm vulnerable to them, and then I get really hurt, upset in those dynamics, and then it teaches me after that happens. People think they're fucking teaching me, but they're teaching me that I just need to keep my guard up and to keep playing the cards better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like you're picking up on some of their habits. It's almost rubbing off.
Yeah. It's like it's on you to realize that if you're an asshole, that you need to change that. It shouldn't be anybody else's. You know?
I do think that if they want better relationships, they have to take it upon themselves to do it. But the bottom, they have to fall out of their lives before they're willing to change.
And that's the thing. Some people don't have that. Like, the world isn't a fair place, and that's one of the first things you'll ever learn. Some people just never have to change. You know, we all want superheroes. At the end of the day, we all want karma. But the truth is, some people will die happy and be terrible, terrible people. And until you realize the damage that you're going to be doing to other people, or until the damage comes back to you.
So maybe our job is focus on the people that, focus on ourselves, but also help those that ask for it, that actually do want to change. And then ignore the people that don't.
Yes, but that's ironically enough usually the people with more give. Usually the people who do the play bow more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. So, I just think there's
people that parade themselves as morally, as people are all the same good, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When they're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there are some irredeemable assholes, and there are also redeemable.
No, but I think even within the redeemable assholes, like, that's the thing, is they parade themselves as like, oh, well, nobody's helping anybody, so, you know, I'm good, or oh
yeah, it's kind of a cope, yeah, or it's kind of like an excuse, or like people be like, there's no point in voting because, like, you know, my vote doesn't really matter at the end of the day, kind of deal.
Yeah,
I have used that argument before, and then think back at it, that's not a smart one to make. Line of thought, then yeah, none of our votes would matter because no one would be voting.
No, but also, like, it just frustrates me. Yeah. I feel like people rob themselves of the good that they can create day to day, and then they just kind of shrug it off, and it helps assholes blend in with good people. I know somebody who I really, really like, and whose personality I feel like I really blend with, who's a really wonderful person, and I already can feel myself, like, being more vulnerable with her and her reciprocating with me, you know? And I bet you money that she thinks she's on that same level as everybody else when she is, like, miles ahead. But the fact that she doesn't do something outright, like volunteering and everything, has people thinking that, like, oh, well, you know, I make the same impact that she does because we're both, you know, we're both not doing things that are obvious in regards to that way. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
And then they don't focus on how they treat people.
I think also impact can be like, I think it's hard to measure that.
I feel like it is, but I'm not denying.
I'll give a good example. So when I was in the Corps, there was someone with my upperclassmen that was kind of dogging on me a lot, especially when I was a freshman. I wasn't the best one. I will own up to that. He would kind of focus on me. What do they call
booth buddy?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, at least that first year. But he was on my ass all the time and on the case. And one time we were working out, right? And I had a terrible day. And I was just down and out about myself. I did not give a shit about the workouts. I just wanted it to be done. I was half-assing it. I didn't give a fuck. I was over it. He could tell. And basically, he pulled over to his side. He's like, Nick, first of all, you gotta stop half-assing the workout. Like, actually try, put your soul into it. And then I was like, fake trying. And I was like, you know what I mean? The fake, oh yeah, the fake like groans and stuff like that. He was, all right, come over here, come to the side. Go down and give me class set, which is I was class 21, so that'd be like, 1 or 2 class sets. That'd be 21 to 42 push-ups, something like that. And I'm there struggling. And he said, if you're salty, I just want you to know that no one here feels bad for you. No one feels sorry for you. And he did that really while I was working out. And I was like, this motherfucker. I'm like, this fucking dude. But after the workout, I kind of sat there and kind of thought about it. I'm just like, that was a really dick way to put that. But he did have a point. Like, I'm just kind of there wallowing in self-pity while everyone else probably also, they may have had a bad day. Maybe I was in the worst day than I did. And they're still trying harder in the workouts than I would. They're still giving it their all. And I wasn't.
That's a very empathetic point of view.
So
I'm saying that some people don't ever have that point of view. Some people don't ever have that.
Right, but my thing is, like, he was an asshole, right? And someone say he wasn't being very, like, empathetic to me and how I was feeling that day. But he may have actually had a good impact on my perception of the world by viewing it like, not everything is about me. And
no, I get that.
So he still had a good impact on me and my character, despite doing it in an asshole manner.
Yeah, but long term, those people don't really.
It just depends on your definition of help. Like, it's hard to see the impact of someone's life kind of propagate like over time.
It does, but like how we treat each other is incredibly relevant.
It does, but some people need some tough love.
I know, but I don't know. You live with tough love, and then I mean, how much tough love is needed?
I don't think it's. I hate saying this because it's so fucking cliche, but it depends on the individual. I think it depends on the person. Some people don't need tough love at all, and they can just take care of themselves just fine and be a very loving person. Some people, they need to get their ass kicked, to get their asses in gear, and they need that person in their ear.
No, I get that, but I just feel like
so
I feel like tough love. I don't know. Again, I just feel like sometimes dynamics are.
It's complex.
I get they're complex. That doesn't change that there's 2 assholes in a room. You know what I mean?
They need each other.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I think that a lot of assholes hide under is it guys?
Yeah.
The guise of just being like, oh well, I'm just like everybody else. When in reality, the way they treat people is very bluntly or rude or
they lack enough empathy to see that you're more of an asshole than other people. And
that makes a difference. It does over time. And then they wonder why connections don't work. It's because they'll rot somebody through.
But that's the thing. It's like, how many connections are those kind of people supposed to have? Like, are they supposed to be friends with the whole planet, or are they supposed to have like 1 or 2 people they're really intimate with?
They're supposed to treat people not like assholes. That's all I really care about.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not inherently a bad thing. It might be bad for you because your personality type, that's not what you vibe with. But someone else, they might need that kind of energy in their life.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I think at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, it's people. People are, they're complicated. The relationships between them are complicated. Yeah, some people just need some different things.
I just wish there were more selfless, kind people.
I wish there were more assholes. I wish there were more selfish. But I'm kidding. We have plenty of that already, and that's shown up in this last election. That was made readily apparent.
So we're embracing Nick Fuentes for this podcast.
Fuck that shit. Absolutely not. I renounce that wholeheartedly. Fuck that guy. That's asshole with a capital A, and one I don't care to get to know.
Are you sure?
Well, actually, here's... would I have a conversation with him? Yes,
he might balance you out.
But it would not be a friend. I would have to make it clear from the start to where it's like, I did not agree with you virtually at all on most points. And I'm really just here to expose you. And I'm really just here to. And here's the thing. Actually, that's actually good faith though, because I'm actually being like, hey, I'm not here to be friendly with you. I'm here to challenge you in your ideological beliefs and hopefully destroy them. But I'm being transparent.
As he loads a gun, he's like, and if this goes wrong,
I am here to scrap. I am here. But at the very least, I'm not trying to hide. Be like, oh yeah, let's be friends. I might be able to see your point of view. It's like, no, I'm coming here. I basically hate you already. Maybe by the end of this conversation, that could change. We'll see. But right now, we're not on the same side. We're not. But I feel like, I feel like good faith engagement is like just being transparent with where you're coming from.
No, I get it.
And that guy, I get bad vibes.
Nah, I'm just trying to get your goat, man. Every time I bring him up.
But that's why I make it clear to it. I know I have this stance of like, treat people with respect, but then it's like when they go about this one guy you really hate. Like, I understand the argument.
It's more just the reaction I get from it every time I mention him.
Oh, he's just rage baiting. He just likes to rage. But yeah, I think.
And I get what you're saying about. I don't know. I just feel like there's a certain level of there needs to be a certain level of overall give in the world, right? Of overall give in dynamics in the world, right?
Yeah,
and I bet you if we took them all together, they would all equal about the middle. Actually, more than the middle. Like maybe 60% give and 40% don't give, right? And that don't give is about what people stand for. It's about like their backbone and everything, right? Okay. So it kind of frustrates me, I'm kind of just trying to verse out my thoughts as I talk about them openly with the entire world, is that I feel like if you don't give at all, I feel like you're selfish. You know what I mean? Because you're causing more people to have to compensate for your lack of give. You know what I mean? You literally create more people who, like, I know this happens because it kind of happened to me, but, like, if you don't give at all, then you're going to have people compensate for your personality without you even knowing.
So they shouldn't do that, but it should also be said that people shouldn't overextend, too.
I agree. And there's a certain level of therapy and self-reflection that needs to go and withdraw that.
Yeah, that's the opposite side of the coin. People, they may be in an environment where they had to be the caretakers.
But society can be built off of a bunch of givers. It cannot be built off a bunch of takers.
I can see that. But there's always going to be those 5% psychopaths that exist in the world that don't care about anything.
And I don't disagree with that. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying that I still hate those guys. You know what I mean? I'm not disagreeing.
But that's why it's incumbent upon those good people to also have healthy boundaries, because there's always going to be those inherent 5% of assholes.
No, and I get that.
They don't give a shit. So I think
that's why I have a gauge now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, don't sit behind this idea of like, well, I was just born this way. Well, I just have this condition. Well, I just, I don't want to be. I have a hard time being vulnerable because
some people do have this condition. It's just for narcissism. Like, that is a psychological thing, where they literally cannot empathize. It's just not in them. They can't do it. They can fake it to a certain degree.
No, but I was talking more like Asperger's or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Where people just go like, oh, well, I have this condition that makes it more difficult to me, so, you're just going to have to deal with my personality.
Yeah, there's some people who it's like they take their mental disorder, which does have weight to it, but then they make that their entire reason why and how they treat people. It's like, you can control that to a certain degree.
You can work on it too.
Yeah, it doesn't have to control.
But that's the thing, is that working on it requires what?
Self-awareness.
Give.
And empathy.
It requires a certain level of give. Because you have to be like, oh, am I acting like an asshole? And you have to be open to the critique people give.
But if they don't have anything, if their lives aren't bad enough, they probably won't do that. If they don't have enough of the outcomes they want to happen, then they probably won't do that.
Yeah, I get that.
Sucks, but I think that's a very small amount of people. Luckily.
I disagree.
What's your percent? How many people like that?
I don't think there's a lot of people who think actively like that. I think there are a lot of people who don't think about it. It's not the idea that they think, oh, I'm an asshole and I'm okay with it. It's that they don't think about, oh, how do I affect other people? How do I talk to this person and how does it affect? Like, and there's a difference between natural human filtering and actively trying to make people stay better. And trying to figure out how those interactions go.
Yeah, that's okay. So I guess how much people do you think do that? Like, what's percentage do you think that?
How many people don't think about like how their words ultimately affect other people?
Yeah, I mean, they don't even consider it that
among the assholes or among the entire population?
The entire population.
All? I'd say at least like 20%.
That high?
Yeah.
Like 1 in every 5 people.
Yeah.
You think are just completely inconsiderate dicks, and they don't even think about
not directly,
how inconsiderate,
not
they
overtly, not overtly inconsiderate, maybe, but like they don't think beyond the natural rules of society. They don't think beyond they don't think beyond like what is expected of them. You know.
Okay, like they don't think they have a larger obligation to making society better.
Yeah, well, they don't think they have a large obligation to be kind.
And that's one of
and it's not due to an active effort. It's due to a negligence of their understanding of how they affect other people.
And it's 1 in every 5 people are like that.
That might have been an over-exaggeration. I don't know. I just feel like I meet a lot of people, but again, I think I'm coming from the point of view as somebody who kind of lives for other people.
Yeah. I think that maybe you attract a lot of those people because you're that kind of giver mentality. So therefore, some of those assholes are like, oh, that flower's getting out a lot of people.
Oh no, I burn those people alive.
Well, eventually,
I have somebody who won't talk to me because I did that to them because I was in a group of people trying to be vague as possible here, but basically like I kind of got stuck with them because they were part of the group, and then like people would make fun of me or something, and I would take it from them. If it came from them, I would shut it down and I would throw it right back at them.
How long? When you started doing it, how long have you had known that person for?
Probably like a month or 2.
But you didn't do that initially. You had to kind of probably learn.
Oh, I learned they were like I just saw the way they treated people, and I saw the way they kind of treated me, and I just wasn't going to take it.
I'm saying so it might take some time to get to know what kind of person you might be dealing with.
We kind of have soft moments where we're kind to each other in passing.
Wow.
But
you really hate this guy. You really hate this guy. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay.
They're not. I don't think they're a bad person, but I think they're a person.
Like
I just think they don't think about how their words affect other people. I think they would do the bare minimum to be good, but they don't do anything beyond that.
Okay. Well, that you see. You gotta keep that in mind. It's from your perspective. You probably only maybe see 20% of who they are.
Probably less. Well, depending.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that we may never know the full person, and then on top of that, the full impacts of that full person they may have. You know, so it's. I mean, it's okay if not like somebody. Just don't like the guy. He thinks he's a dick. He thinks he's a dick. Man, ain't have to associate with that much. Yeah. But he still might be good for somebody else. That's just unbeknownst to you.
No, I get that.
Yeah. So that's the point I'm trying to make. But yeah. You know, that's about an hour. Do you have any lasting thoughts? I think it's been pretty.
I think this has been a pretty rocky podcast for me.
What do you mean a rocky podcast?
I don't know. I don't think I fully formed a lot of ideas. I think I was fully forming them as I was talking about them, you know?
Okay. Well, I mean, first of all, I do that too. And then secondly, I feel like that's how we think. I mean, Jordan Peterson also said that too. It's like people, that's why free speech is so important, is that people think that they're speaking. Like, we have to speak in order to engage with our ideas and stuff like that. So our ideas die so we don't have to, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So we have to, being able to speak, being able to write, that's why that stuff is so important, because that's how we better articulate our thoughts and ideas and have sturdier belief in them and challenge them against the world. So, I mean, you speaking about it and working it out makes those ideas more refined.
It leaves me vulnerable, though, to the online community.
That just comes with the gig, yeah. That just comes with the gig. that's just part of shit. Two parts about people be like, oh my god, this is so stupid. You guys don't talk about anything. Like, do you even read? Do you even know any shit you talk about? Yeah, people always they're always gonna be assholes like that. out there. And after that, I say, fuck yourself. I don't care. Fuck yourself. How about that? Research that.
Go fuck yourself, and it came up with a completely different thing than me.
And then honestly, the worst comments are probably the ones that like actually have some truth in them. You know what I mean? The one that actually listen to you and be like, "This is why you're wrong here. This is what I think's going on here." Like they actually good faith engage what you're saying. It was like, shit, they actually made some good point. I think those are way worse. Yeah, but I think it's a good discussion. I think it's good. Yep. Overall, I think it's important to have dialogue with one another, even people on the side of the aisle that you don't agree with, and just remember that even those people, even some of the ones that you may not like, may have a greater impact, unbeknownst to you, but still an impact that still might be overall good for the sake of the world or the direction that we're heading in, even though it may not look that way to you. And it's important to be open-minded, keep those perspectives open, and have those conversations to try to get down to, I don't think we ever know the capital T truth, but try to get down to know the truth by having these discussions. But yeah, I want to say thank you guys for listening. And like always, leave a comment. Like it if you like what you're hearing. Give us some ideas on some things you want to hear about, you want to talk about next. I always love to hear from you guys, except for the assholes out there. Fuck you. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. See you guys soon, and remember, keep it real.